So, hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of our Decoded series. My name is Logan Willett. I'm a community builder here at CodeControl. And before I introduce our two guests for today, I'd just like to give maybe a quick little introduction to CodeControl and what we're all about. So we are actually a curated marketplace, and we are home to Europe's top talent. So we've been around since 2015, based here in Berlin. And we have this community of over 650 freelance developers, designers, and product managers. And we work with a bunch of awesome companies that we help to staff projects with, including NGN and Vogel, but we'll get into that. And yeah, so if you want to learn a little bit more about us, you can check us out at codecontrol.io. And yeah, so moving on, I'd like to introduce our two lovely guests for today. So joining us from NGN is Doris. Doris Beckman, the Managing Director at NGN, and I pass it over to you.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. Thanks, Logan, for inviting us to this talk today. As said, I'm Doris. I work for NGN New Generation Network, and I'm passionate about the future of events. So event industry is the business that I've been working for more than the last 10 years, and mainly in the fields of digital business development and innovative product strategies. We have recently founded a new project within the company together with my colleague, Matthias, who's with me today, and it's called Industrial Generation Network. So it's both of us who founded it and it's both of us in the product lead for this project, and maybe also part of the conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
Could you? Yes, thanks. So just
sorry.
a few.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Okay. Okay, just a few words about what we do at NGN. Basically, we help event organizers going digital to live or live to digital, depends. We are a digital agency in the heart of Berlin, working for national and international trade show organizers, mainly in the region of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, but also with shows in Asia, in Africa, or in the US. We offer for them mainly digital strategies combined with business models. So we offer like business model as a service. It has a lot to do with content creation, with sales, and of course, for all that, you need also a software, and we sell it as a software as a service. We have a great team of more than 40 people, all working with me from Berlin, currently all in mobile office. So it's only me today in the office, the only one. But I'm looking forward to have the team back here. Handing over to Matthias.
Yeah, cheers, Doris. My name is Matthias Brandstetter. I work at the Vogel Communications Group, which is one of the, well, I'm not sure if it's the oldest, but probably one of the oldest specialist content publishing and media houses of Europe. Right now, I'm not sure, but I guess we are 128 years old. So we have a big tradition in our back. Well, my role is head of digital cooperations. So I am responsible for creating content platforms with my awesome team in cooperation or on a selling perspective to trade fairs. And yeah, I have digital backgrounds. I'm kind of a mixture between business administration and all the technical stuff, or the digital business at Vogel Communications Group. That's pretty much my origin. So we have the big topics of data, digital, and content marketing. Of course, as a publishing house, we are very into the whole search engine stuff and all you need to know about that. And yeah, Well, that was fast. That was the next slide. As I already said, we are pretty old, and therefore we have a lot of different brands in our portfolio. We have right now more than 100 magazines, specialist magazines for 14 branches. One of the biggest is Maschinenmarkt, the double red in the down there on the slide is the logo, the brand of it, which is one of the biggest and oldest newspaper for the industry. But of course, specialist magazines are in are in a change process, or the whole business and the whole media business is about to change, and it changed, or it is about to, or it is right now, it is in this change for, I would say, around about 15 to 20 years with the rise of the internet and the digital business models. And so we had a quite big development regarding our media brand. So we have right now more than 100 web portals. We are as well in the event business with conferences and seminars and stuff like that. And of course, we have a big portfolio of agencies. One of them, NGN, Doris already introduced to you, with different digital solutions for our clients. Yeah, I would say
Great.
that's 120 years in 4 to 5 sentences.
Great.
Maybe one last sentence why we do this together. So NGN is 100% subsidiary of Vogel Communications Group, and Matthias and me, we are really close working on all the digital platforms in cooperation with trade show organizers. So he is bringing in all the digital knowledge and technology aspects, and of course the content competence from the Vogel side, and we from NGN are bringing in the 15 years of trade show experience. So we combine that, and that's why we have also founded this new project together.
Great. Cool. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us, Doris and Matthias. So I guess maybe to recap a little bit and to set the stage for this conversation. So basically the goal of this Decoded series that we've started here at CodeControl is to speak with different companies that are going through this rapid digitalization due to the COVID-19. Of course, it's had an effect on industries, across the world, companies across the world. Companies have had to adapt in many different ways, whether it's their business models, service delivery, or team practices, for example. And yeah, so I guess today we're here to talk about this new digital platform that you've created together. And yeah, so I wonder, maybe to kind of, I guess, set the stage a little bit as well. Can you describe for me where a little bit before COVID started? So what was kind of the situation like? What did you have planned for the year? And what kind of happened once COVID came about?
Yeah. Let me start with that. So it was the beginning of the year. Normally, the first quarter of the year is really, really high season for us. A lot of trade shows are happening normally in the first quarter of a year, or otherwise in the third quarter of a year. So we have been at the peak of our business. What are we doing? We are normally doing digital platforms in addition for trade shows. So all the exhibitors and the visitors can meet there. Then they can find relevant information about the exhibitors there. You have the floor plans there, whatever you need to know. And we help exhibitors to put together their media and marketing package around the show to make sure they have all the information everywhere. Every visitor knows where to find them, what they are going to present, etc. So we have been in contact with many, many, many exhibitors. So the last 2 to 3 months before a show are the most intensive for us normally. And this was January, February. And we had planned to do a lot of shows this year, so even until April, and then back in summer. At the same time, in the group, we were preparing for Hannover Messe, which is one of the most important industry trade shows for the whole group. And also we were working intensively on really content platform, industry related content platforms together with trade show organizers. And then then came COVID-19, and it hit us really hard here in Germany in the beginning of March. So that was the moment when the first trade shows became postponed or cancelled. I remember really that in the mid of February, we were like, no, this is probably not going to happen. And it was just 2 weeks later that the first shows became cancelled. For us, the biggest one in the beginning was ITB in Berlin. So it was just 5 days before the show was supposed to happen, with more than 10,000 exhibitors and 100,000 of visitors. Most of them were even in Berlin at that time. Wow. So this was the beginning. And of course, the trade show industry has been hit really hard. They were the first to shut down, if we now consider who started to shut down, and most probably they will be the last one to reopen, or one of the last one to reopen. So that changed everything at that moment, because from one day to another, we stopped, trade shows stopped. Everybody had been in crisis management to think, okay, what now? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do with the events that are supposed to happen within the next or 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks? So the decisions were made just day by day.
Cool. And sorry, Matthias, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, just as Doris said, it was very interesting, because I would say that everyone just decided every evening what to do next, and what's the schedule for the next day,
of course.
which trade show will take place, which event, there are a lot of customers, right, from every industry who plan to start their own roadshows, for example, and they were just like, okay, we don't have any clue what to do now.
Right. And so what was kind of your reaction to this? Of course, this is kind of like, I guess, where you started thinking about maybe this new platform that can kind of help address the issues of bringing a lot of those offline things maybe to an online environment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, our reaction was like, okay, this is going to be a bigger thing. So we are not just talking about 2 or 3 trade shows. We will probably not talk only about March. It's going to be much longer. The second thing is that, I mean, we just stopped working, but the trade show organizers, they did have all the crisis management spontaneously with their partners, with their exhibitors, with their visitors, with everybody. So at that moment, there was no room about any discussion. Are we going to do anything digital, etc.? Because everybody was just in crisis mode. We didn't have it that much because we were just stopped from one day to another. So we were thinking, okay, what are we going to do? And we discussed this intensively also with the colleagues from Vogel, because they have the same. They are doing a lot of campaigns, a lot of media, a lot of projects around trade shows. And we were thinking, okay, there still is the need for companies and for people to interact. There still is the need to meet somehow. There still is a need to have product presentations, information, sales, however you are going to do it. It's going to change, but the need is still there. Just the way is changing dramatically from one day to another. And so we decided, okay, why do we not try to start a digital platform to help the industry, also to get ready for events when they are back ready to organize something? So it will be it took a couple of weeks for them in the crisis management, but it was clear, okay, there need to be a strategy to move on. And that was the moment that we said, okay, let's start a platform where people can meet virtually, where people can do their presentation, where it's easy to host virtual sessions, no matter if it's just a webinar, if it's a masterclass, if it's a seminar, if it's a conference, whatever it is. And we try to bring the audience together. So this is what we wanted to do. And we decided, okay, Vogel has a huge audience in industrial branches, and we have the technology and the know-how. Let's put that all together in the group and start this project. So this is what were our thoughts, and what we were discussing very, very quickly after the beginning of March.
Yeah, I'm totally right, and it's very interesting because you have to know that Vogel already offers a various set of marketing activities. For example, for lead generation by white papers, lead generation by webinars. So we had some people in our organization who said something like, okay, but we already offer an alternative to generate leads, for example, in a digital way. So if in order you are not able to participating on a local event because of COVID-19, you have the chance to generate your leads by a white paper campaign, for example. But in the same time, I would say we get very strong vibes from our customers and from a lot of participants and readers and users. They wanted something, and they don't just want to say, okay, this event is not going to happen, so let's focus on something else. They were hungry for a kind of digital event, and they want to have this real-time communication. They want the interactivity of an event. They want the dialogue options, and yeah, that was one of our main reasons to combine all our forces and experiences and technology and all we had. Yeah.
Great.
And last but not least,
sorry, please.
maybe last but not least, we wanted to give each individual the chance to become visible on a platform. So if you think just about the normal webinars, like it's us here, we are visible. The audience is just in the chat, but they are not visible. The same is normally with trade shows. If you look at their platforms, there's visibility for the exhibitors normally, but not for any of the visitors, not for the people who are actually who are the industry. And this was our approach. We want to have a platform for the people. So this was the first thing that we started, and then we decided, okay, where do we go next? What are we going to build around? But having the people there was the very first step for us.
Great. And I guess maybe to touch on a little bit of the development of this product. So I guess from my understanding is you guys had something of like an MVP. Yeah. And then you came over to us over at CodeControl to find some freelancers to help support some of those competencies maybe that you were missing in your team. Yeah. I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about that, and what's been your experience working with freelancers, and what have they brought to that project?
Yeah, indeed. So going back is we made the decision to start a project on a Thursday, and we decided to launch on a Tuesday after. So just within 5 days. So everybody who was willing to join was participating in a long weekend session with us. And it was a team in Berlin and in Würzburg combined. Which was really, really great. And we managed to launch the MVP on that Tuesday after. But of course, you figure out, okay, we need to have a team now. The weekend is over. Everybody's back to normal business. What are we going to do now? How we are going to develop further step by step and keep the speed in the project? And that was the moment when we realized, okay, we really need some external help because we need it rather yesterday than tomorrow. We don't have all the competencies in the team, or we don't have them free. So that was the moment when I got in contact with you, and then it was really, really fast. So I sent my request on Wednesday or Thursday, and we had the first chats on, I think it was Saturday and Sunday. Your guys already started working for us. So that was really awesome, because it helped us to keep the speed and to understand to see, okay, where do we have the biggest need to move forward, and to directly jump into the team and help us to structure it into some kind of process that we needed. So it was the only chance for us to have that great and that fast people. And the benefit is always that normally when you work with freelancers, they have the ability to get into a new project very, very quickly. So they understand the idea and they know where you want to go, and they know how to organize, how to work remotely with everybody. And just to get started very quick without long introductions, long briefings, long stories.
Great. And yeah, like you touched on this topic of remote work. I think you had mentioned before that remote work and working remotely entirely was something that was relatively new for your team. So I wonder if you can tell me a little bit about that experience. Like, what have been some of your challenges? Have you found kind of a rhythm that kind of works for your team now that we are 6 to 8 weeks into this whole COVID quarantine lockdown? Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. Well, that was the second thing. We started this project more or less in mobile office. So no, the weekend was in the office still, and afterwards was more or less the shutdown. And we had to organize everybody from home, connect different networks here in Berlin and in Würzburg, and the freelancers and other people. We had to adapt very, very quickly and figure out, okay, what to do. Of course, we have experiences and we have people, but also the freelancers helped us to set up the remote work more professionally and more fast. This I can really say. So I think now we are quite good. We have our sprint organization. We have our communication channels on Teams on the one hand. We have the Slack on the other hand. We have the tools where we share the designs and the scribbles. And so everything is set now, but we really needed a moment for that. To set up everything and also organize all the meetings, which kind of stand-ups for which teams, for which topics.
Yeah, of course.
And everything on remote, but it's working fine. So honestly, there's no difference between mobile office and real office, just if you have a stable internet connection. So this has been my biggest trouble the last days.
And how about you, Matthias? What's been your experience?
Well, Doris is absolutely right. I was very impressed by the speed. It was when we started this project, we were sure, and we are sure right now, that speed and the high pace is right now key, and it's more important than quality. Of course, quality always is a very very necessary and essential factor of a product, but right now the time requires very fast solutions for the circumstances and to enable people to handle it. So I was very impressed. It was probably one of my first big time experience with freelancers, and I was just very impressed that this works so fast and so quickly, and I'm very thankful for that too.
Good. No, very happy to hear that. And so I guess maybe the first real test of this new platform was this recent Industries Days event that you had a few weeks ago in April. Can you tell me a little bit about the event? What was the outcome? How did it work? Or maybe what was some of the feedback and experience of the participants?
Yeah, well, we had the idea to say that just a technology and just to set up something like industrial generation network and spread the word about it and just put it there and leave it there won't be enough. So we are sure that this whole platform, this whole concept of industrial generation network needs very informative, very valuable information, and we need good events on it. So what we did was, because as I already said, speed is our main criteria. We launched the Industry Days with, I would say, 2 weeks in front, Doris, roundabout.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay. Okay. We had the idea to start an event on industrial generation network, and we had two kind of sessions. We had sessions curated by our media brands. So we had 4 editor-in-chiefs who moderate events and webinars who takes place in their branch, in their area. For example, we had Sebastian Humann, head of IoT, Industry of Things, which is one of the biggest in German language, one of the biggest B2B blogs regarding the internet or in industry 4.0. Yeah, he moderates our IoT session, for example. But we
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's quite awkward to hear yourself, right? But we on the other hand, we want, and that's something of we strongly believe in. We want to open industrial generation network for other companies to launch their events on their on industrial generation network. And it was quite amazing that I would say it was about 10 companies who commit their content 1 week before industries and were able to present their solutions and their interesting stories on industry days. And it was yeah, it was quite amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how many participants did you have again overall, or how many people have actually registered for the platform so far?
So far, we have more than 1,400 registered professionals on the platform, and we have more than 3,000 companies at the platform at the moment. We had several hundreds visitors at the different sessions of the industry days, which might sound a bit small, but due to the point that we just advertised it like 1 or 2 weeks in advance, we were quite happy with that. And it was also for us a first trial. We know that digitally, I mean, you do webinar yourself, and you know you are happy when you have 50, 100, 150 people. So this is already quite good if it's the right people, that are listening. So this was the outcome of the industry days, and the good thing is a lot of companies reached out to us saying, okay, this is quite spontaneously, but we like the idea and we might want to join at another point. So we have been in contact for the next industry days with them. It's a series, so we are going to do it every month. And also we are offering that companies can hold webinars at any time on the platform, just because we are lacking real events at the moment. So we need to create some kind of special days that people will come back. But the idea is more or less that there's always happening something, because we all know, I mean, each of us is in web conferences at the moment all day long. And almost nobody will be 1 or 2 days in a digital conference just listening to sessions. So
for sure,
we need to spread it. And this is something that we are just currently working on, to have the one date in a month, that many sessions are going to happen, and we want to build different stages. And we are also talking with conference and trade show organizers to partner for that, to have their own stages filled with content. But we also want to establish that every week we are going to have some program on the platform running.
Okay, great. So kind of building on that, you know, obviously we're seeing more and more different kind of industries, particularly the event industry, which have been really pushing and being forced to go online. You know, so you have online conferences, you know, webinars, all this kind of content delivery stuff. My next question will be maybe a bit provocative. Do you think that digital is going to replace the offline trade show experience in the future?
No. I say clearly no. No way. I really believe in face-to-face communication. We all know it's a difference if you're talking just via a webcam with each other, or if you meet personally face-to-face somewhere, having conversation, having experiences, having emotions and everything that belongs to it. So I truly believe that we need events. They are important for the whole industry. They are important for our economy. They are important for companies. And they are important for all the professionals working there. So I'm really waiting trade shows and conferences to come back. I think we are all waiting to be back with people in events and in personal interaction. So definitely not, but I think it's going to change. So there will be a much stronger focus on digital solution. Everybody is talking about hybrid events at the moment, allowing people to join either directly at the location or to join digitally. So I guess this is the situation. It would have come anyways, but much slower than we have it now. So COVID-19 is really pushing the speed to the digital transformation of the event industry.
Yeah. I think Doris is totally right. As a 100% digital guy, I have to admit that events and right now, when there are no events, you really start to miss them. You won't, or you're not able to replace the actual interactivity, shaking hands, have a little chat, a conversation with a smile and a coffee break or stuff like that. But as Doris said, I strongly believe that there will be a kind of a digital hybrid to every real or analog event in the future, because what I experienced so far is that people are not just like, okay, there's a event and I have to go go there by plane, for example, and okay, 2 days off, and I would say that a lot of people will not travel that much anymore. So yeah, I think.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so I think maybe we can now go some audience questions. So I've got, I see here we have 2 questions already. And for anyone that's viewing, please feel free to add your questions at the bottom of the screen. There's the Ask a Question function. And yeah, we'll be happy to share as many insights as we can. So first question here. I'm interested in understanding how a design company selling lights and design objects can benefit from this technology, or is it not yet addressing issues related to the design industry trade fair? Interesting question.
Could you once repeat it to make sure?
Yeah, sure. So my understanding of this question is they are a design company that sell lights and design objects, and they're exactly, and they are curious to know how they can maybe benefit from this platform, or maybe what kind of yeah.
Well, what I can say is we had, I think it's at least 4 weeks ago, we had a cooperation with a company that is normally building booths and installations for trade shows, with everything around that. And they have been changing also quite quickly, and now they are offering to build individual stages for roadshows for company, but to do it digitally. And we had them in a webinar as well. So they were also using our platform to explain their new service, to explain how they change. Yeah, and normally, so they act around trade shows. All the industrial companies are normally their clients, and now they help them to organize their own sessions, their digital roadshows, and they build them a house, they build them a stage, they come to them, they do it with them in a studio, they rent a hall for them, whatever they do. But they are not only doing the stage, they are also doing the digital part of it. And this was, for example, one company who also did a presentation and a webinar on our platform that we invited there, and that was not part of the industry days, but which we had separately.
Great. Cool, thank you. So we have another question here. Speaking of hybrid events, what would be the best of digital and physical dimensions for events with the visitor in focus? What would be the best of digital and physical dimensions for events? So I guess, yeah, how do you see kind of hybrid events looking once we're able to go back to having kind of physical events?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think first of all, it needs to be more than just streaming what is happening on the main stage at a live event into digital. So this is not going to work, in my opinion. You need to think it in different concepts. So the experience live has to be different than the experience digital. I strongly believe people, okay, they can follow, but you need to have other sessions for digital and not do the same that you have live there. And you need to think it in different formats. So if you are doing it really, really well, you combine a program that is especially for digital. It might have, people might have the possibility to follow the main stages live, and you need to have a different interaction possibility. So people really need to be able to present themselves on platform, to find interesting contacts, to put their maybe request there, what they are especially looking for, or what kind of problem they need a solution for, or somebody to talk to. So it will differ from the networking that you are having at the event. And I also guess it will be different business models. So paying to participate just digitally will be different than paying when you participate live. And this is the challenge that, or the exciting moment for the event industry now, to develop everything in relation to that.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another question here. Congratulations on building IGN so quickly. What has been the biggest challenge? And oh, what happened to my question? What has been the biggest challenge, and what is one key learning that you might have to share?
What has been the biggest challenge? There were a lot of challenges on the way. That's a good question. I think the biggest challenge for us still is to work on the user experience. So we are doing it step by step. We are far not there where we want to be. Quite honest about that. We started a lot of marketing campaigns, but we realized, and that was also the moment when we started the industry days, okay, you really need to have something happening. So this is the most important thing. People are not going to platforms like they go to LinkedIn or the main news platform they are following. So you really need to pull them back to the platform by certain events. And this was, I think, one of the challenges. I remember the first week, so we made so much marketing. Telling everybody go there and look what is there, and then we realized, okay, maybe there's not enough there yet. And we need to create something more, and that's when we came up with the idea to start our own events. It was not the idea from the early beginning, but we realized quite quickly, okay, let's start that, and it really helped. It was the best marketing for us to have more interested users registering for the platform.
Great.
Yeah.
And next question from Maximilian Schendel. What role can booth builders play in digital platforms, e.g. VR exhibition stands? Interesting question.
I guess it's exactly that. So booth builders, I think everybody in that industry is thinking about how to do digital versions of booths. I think you need to put it in the right context. This is my personal opinion. It's the biggest challenge, that I always see. So for example, if I think, how do I do e-commerce? If I do shopping, this is always my example. If somebody asks me, I would never, like, if I look for something on Amazon, have the idea to walk through like a warehouse and look for the right place where my product is, take it, and then walk back where I can pay. So I think the user journey has to be different and digital, and digital booths really need to fulfill the needs that somebody is having when going on a platform. So I guess information need to be presented different than they are presented live. But I can imagine that you can really use and recycle a lot of content that you need as well at a live booth, than in a digital platform.
Yeah, probably it's as we think about digital events. So there are different formats and stuff like that. We have to reconsider as well the presentation of the exhibitor, right? So personally, I'm not sure about the, as Doris said, as the just a one-on-one representation of an analog process to the digital and virtual world. So, for example, media companies made the experience with e-papers and stuff like that. Was just the same logic as the printed newspaper in the digital area. But I would say that there are chances for if you are able to set up a good AR experience. The time is now, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Another question from Margot. What would be your advice to event companies who are new to digitalization? So I guess, event companies or even just events that are just starting going digital. Any advice you might have for them?
Yes. It doesn't help if you only put a platform to the internet. Because then it's there and nothing is happening there. So activating your customers and your clients, the marketing is the relevant piece in the game that you have to consider. So technology is the base, but technology is not the product. And you really need to consider it from a whole marketing and data perspective. So start there to think and not start to think what kind of features and functions do I have on the platform. So we had the same experience. Just one example, we started the platform and people can agree for appointments there, they can meet and blah 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 blah. And to be honest, nobody did that in the first time. Of course nobody did that.
New, yeah,
because
of course.
why should you do that when you have no really circumstance, no event, no point of why should you contact somebody. So this is part of that you really have to think about when you start a platform. How do you make it fun for the people to come back regularly?
And make it engaging, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Great. Next question from Stefan Ritt. As a publishing house, what is your actual experience with the print/online share of publications? My experience is that, interestingly, there even are new print publications in these days, whereas a lot of people pray all digital.
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I'm as I already said, I'm 100% digital, but there always will be print issues and print newspapers and print magazines. Of course, we in the publishing branch, we have one very famous representative of this trend. It's in German Landlust or Landleben. I'm not sure. It's a print magazine. It's about 10 years old, and it's selling like. It's selling very, very good.
Very well. Yeah.
Very well. Well, it's. I would say it always depends on your target audience. It always depends on your business model behind it. So if you're, for example, focusing on marketing budgets and marketing spendings, communication spendings, as for example Vogel Communications Group do, there are some reasons why the big part of the budgets is switching to digital, because it's measurable. You have the possibility to generate leads. You are you know what you're spending money for, but we still have big print campaigns, and our customers, and they are big customers who know exactly what they are doing in their marketing, are still very content and with the print campaigns, because they say it's so important for our brand awareness, for example, for visibility of our brand in the target audience, in the desired branch. So I would say it always print has a decline. That's for sure, and that's true, and everybody knows that, because because of the many various and different digital offers. But yeah, it still depends on your goal, right?
Of course. Great. Yeah, so I see here we are out of questions, but I maybe have one final question for you both, or actually maybe an opportunity to maybe give you the floor. Do you have any kind of message for your partners and the trade industry, many of whom are probably also on this call? Do you have any message for them about the current situation, the future?
Yeah, well, my message would be I'm really excited and happy to see that everybody is now looking for new digital initiatives and new digital platforms. So the first part of the crisis is over. Now everybody is working on the trade shows that are going to happen in autumn somehow, however they are going to happen.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And everybody is now open for new solutions. We are all learning, and I think especially in this year, users and visitors are more likely to accept that it's maybe not 100% perfect, which also gives the chance to be brave and to try something new. And also I think it's now the time for cooperation and collaboration, because if everybody is just doing it by him or herself, the outcome will not be as good as if we would try to cooperate, learn from each other, do things together, and try to get the best out of this crisis. So this is really something that also we are doing. We try to be very open. We share a lot of knowledge, and no matter if people are really going to do a cooperation on industrial generation network, or if they just want to work with us on other parts of their trade show or of their events, or if they have a different idea, whatever. So we really try to answer all the requests, all the ideas, and because we learn from it, and we hope that people learn from it. And this is just something that I can give there. So let's start collaborating.
Yeah,
great.
I definitely want to underline that point, because now is the time to start new projects and to make new experience. Nobody knows how long this will determine our lives and our business and our economy. So I would say this is the time to start experiments and and I would say to start cooperations, because what I've learned so far is, especially digital events, they are much more valuable in a professional setup. If there are people who are helping you to moderate the audience, for example, or to have the technical setup and stuff like that. There are many tools, and you have to make sure what is the goal of your event. Then you have to figure out what format should your event be like, and after that you should start experimenting with different tools to get this whole thing covered.
Absolutely. Great insights. Great. So Doris and Matthias, I want to thank you both so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights. It's been a really great chat and really great getting to know a little bit more about what you guys are working on, and hopefully also been an inspiration for many of our participants and viewers. So also thank you to everyone for joining us today. I've been seeing a lot of really great conversation going on in the chat. Obviously, I haven't been able to keep up with it, but I believe once we end the broadcast, you can still continue chatting in there. So I thank you both again so much, and we will see you around, and all the best. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Logan. Thanks for having us. Thank you all.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.